According to Jeffrey Epstein's former butler who ran his Paris estate, in the days following Donald Trump's Electoral College victory in the 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump called up Jeffrey Epstein and offered him a position in his forthcoming administration. Now, we do not have solid evidence, obviously, that this happened. We have to rely on the word of the butler, the word of the guy that, worked for Jeffrey Epstein. So maybe this happened, maybe it didn't. But in an interview with a UK newspaper, the butler said this. A few days after Trump's election, Mr. Epstein arrived in Paris on Monday or Tuesday, and I went to pick him up at the airport. He said, "Valdson, you saw that Trump is the new U.S. president." "Yes," I replied. "I saw it on the news in Paris." "Well, Trump asked me to work for him in the new government," Epstein said. I said, "Congratulations, I'm happy for you," in my bad English. He said, "No, I didn't accept." Again, we have to take the butler at his word, or we have to assume the butler is not telling the truth. The question is, what does the butler have to gain from lying? Well, if he's an anti-Trump guy, which doesn't necessarily sound like it, then obviously his goal is to take down Trump. But if he's just a concerned individual, then okay, maybe. So it is kind of difficult, I will admit, to just take this at face value or to dismiss it completely, right? None of us were there for that conversation between the butler and Epstein in the car on the way from the Paris airport. So let's just dissect, assuming for a moment that this story is true. Because if the story is true, then this, of course, would mean that Donald Trump was completely lying to the public about cutting ties with Epstein. Right? He said, no, I cut ties with him because he was a creep, and then we found out being a creep actually meant he just took a couple employees from Mar-a-Lago to go be his indentured, sex slaves. So Trump didn't actually cut ties with him and still liked him. So that blows a hole in that whole narrative from Donald Trump. The second thing it means is that this was after Epstein's first conviction and stint in, Club Fed. So Epstein was a known pedophile at the time. Like, there was no secret about it, no bones about it. I mean, the only thing secret, obviously, was the grand jury materials. But those who paid attention to this story way back then before the second arrest, which we at Ring of Fire did, by the way, you can go back in the archives and see us talking about it, 10, 12 years ago. But it would mean that Donald Trump reached out to a known pedophile and offered him a job in his administration. If the story is true. And I will say that's a big if. So we don't know. We don't know if the butler is telling the truth. We do not know if the butler is exaggerating or misremembering or completely fabricating. But this does add another layer to the ongoing Epstein scandal that, unfortunately for Trump, is clearly not going away anytime soon. By now, you know Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed. But almost no one's reporting how ICE is going to get nearly $40 billion of our tax dollars a year, making it the most heavily funded law enforcement agency in U.S. history. That's more money than most nations actually spend on their entire military. So much of our media is either missing the worst of this bill or twisting the language so that you think it's all in your best interest. But we have seen the ICE raids ramping up, and now Trump's openly threatening to deport U.S. citizens. This should be the biggest story in America, yet it's buried, which is what makes ground news essential right now. They're the only tool that I've found that is exposing these blind spots in the media. By gathering the world's news in one place, organizing it by story, then analyzing just how far right and radical each unbiased source actually is, you get way more context than you ever would anywhere else. If we're being honest, we have seen Trump's power grabs throughout history. They said never again, and that means never again everywhere, and right now, it's happening here. So if you want to stay ahead on immigration, the economy, or simply finding the stories missing from your news feeds, Ground News has you covered. Their app and website is a smarter, more reliable way to stay informed at a time when MAGA is banking on us to stay distracted. So I've partnered with them to get you 40% off the very same Vantage plan that I've been using. That comes out to about $5 per month for unlimited access to everything that I've mentioned and more. Just go to ground.news/ROF or scan the QR code to subscribe. With at least another 4 years of this, we can't afford to miss these details.